Vladimir Putin, a name that evokes both fear and fascination. Spy, president, dictator, war criminal. Defender of Russia, he is the most powerful man in Russia since Stalin, and one of the most controversial leaders of our time. For over 2 decades, Putin has reshaped Russian politics, waged wars, challenged the West, and crushed dissent. But where did he come from? How did a quiet KGB agent become one of the world's most feared leaders? Today, we dive deep into the life and legacy of Vladimir Putin, his rise, reign, and the shadow he casts on the world. Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. The city was still recovering from the horrors of World War II. His older brother, Viktor, died during the Nazi siege of Leningrad, one of the deadliest in human history. His mother was a factory worker. His father, a wounded veteran, had served in a Soviet NKVD destruction battalion then. In the army, Putin grew up in a communal apartment, shared with multiple families. It was a rough neighborhood, and Putin quickly learned to stand up for himself. At 12, began training in Sambo and Judo, eventually earning a black belt. Discipline, control, strategy. These weren't just sports to him, they were life philosophies. In 1970, Putin enrolled at Leningrad State University, studying law. While there, he joined the Communist Party and caught the eye of the KGB. After graduation, he entered the world of Soviet espionage. For the next 16 years, Putin served as a foreign intelligence officer. Most of his work took place in East Germany, in the city of Dresden, under deep cover. But in 1991, as the Soviet Union fell, so did Putin's career as a spy. He resigned from the KGB frustrated, disillusioned, but not defeated. Instead, he turned his eyes to politics. Back in Russia, Putin aligned himself with Anatoly Sobchak, a reformist mayor of St. Petersburg. He became the city's foreign relations chief, managing trade deals, international partnerships, and some allege corrupt schemes involving the export of raw materials. Despite an investigation into missing funds, Putin wasn't removed. Instead, he climbed higher, gaining a reputation as a reliable, efficient, and loyal bureaucrat. But fate and politics would soon bring him to Moscow. In 1996, Putin moved to the capital. His rise was rapid. By 1997, he was deputy chief of the presidential staff. In 1998, he became director of the FSB, Russia's most powerful intelligence agency. He restructured the FSB, reinstating loyalty and discipline, drawing on his own years in the KGB. Putin became acting president, and on March 26, 2000, he won his first presidential election. A new era had begun. Putin's first term came during a time of chaos. Russia was reeling from economic collapse, war in Chechnya, and a loss of global influence. He moved quickly, restoring federal control, fighting Chechen separatists, and rebuilding the military. Economy grew, thanks to a global oil boom and domestic reforms. Between 2000 and 2008, Russia's GDP nearly doubled, but so did Putin's power. He brought oligarchs under control, either by jailing them or forcing their loyalty. Independent media was silenced, political opponents disappeared, the seeds of authoritarianism were taking root. In 2008, with term limits preventing a third run, Putin stepped aside, but only in name. His close ally, Dmitry Medvedev, became president. Putin became prime minister, still holding the reins of power. During this period, he launched a war with Georgia, enacted major police and military reforms, and prepared for his return to the presidency. In 2012, he ran again, this time for a 6-year term. Amid mass protests and allegations of election fraud, Putin returned to the Kremlin. Putin's third term was more aggressive, both at home and abroad. In 2014, following the ousting of Ukraine's pro-Russian president, Putin annexed Crimea, drawing global condemnation and Western sanctions. Then came Syria. Putin sent troops and aircraft to support Bashar al-Assad, turning the tide of the war and securing Russian military bases on the Mediterranean. These moves weren't just strategic, they were symbolic. Russia was back, and Putin wanted the world to know it. On February 24, 2022, Putin shocked the world. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the largest European war since World War II. Putin called it a special military operation, but the world saw it for what it was, an attempt to reshape borders by force. Western nations responded with unprecedented sanctions, arms shipments to Ukraine, and diplomatic isolation. The International Criminal Court issued a warrant for Putin's arrest in 2023, accusing him of war crimes, including the abduction of Ukrainian children. Still, Putin pressed on, confident in his mission regardless of the cost. Putin's grip on Russia is no accident. It's the result of years of deliberate control, Independent media has been all but destroyed. Political opposition is crushed, with leaders like Alexei Navalny imprisoned or exiled. Elections are tightly managed, and in 2021, Putin changed the constitution to let him rule until 2036. Russia. Putin is ranked among the least free nations in the world, according to Freedom House, The Economist, and Reporters Without Borders. So, what will history say about Vladimir Putin? To some, he's a defender of Russian sovereignty, a strong man who restored pride to a wounded nation. To others, he's a ruthless autocrat, responsible for wars, repression, and the deaths of thousands. What's clear is this: Putin has reshaped Russia, rewritten its politics, and redrawn its borders. And with another term starting in 2024, his story is far from over. From the alleys of Leningrad to the heights of the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin's rise is a case study in power, how it's gained, kept, and wielded without mercy.